I'm going to share another example for standard A10E. But let's look at this standard and what it says. It says factor if possible trinomials with real factors in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, including perfect square trinomials of degree 2. This page here just has some information from TEA, as well as strategies or process that you can follow when factoring trinomials. I'm not going to read through all of this, but if you want, you can take a moment and pause the video and read through it yourself. So here's another example for A10E. It says, if possible, factor the expression 6x squared minus 13x plus 5. So since we have a leading coefficient, what we always do is we want to list factors, but we have to multiply the leading coefficient of our x squared term times the constant or the last term, which is 6 times 5, which is positive 30. So the factors that we need to list are factors of 30. We're going to list factors of 30. So I'm going to make a factor table. Our first column is going to have the factors of 30. And the second column has the sum of the factors of 30. All right, so let's think about factors of 30, of positive 30. Well, I could multiply positive 1 times 30, negative 1 times negative 30, 2 times 15, negative 2 times negative 15, 3 times 10, negative 3 times negative 10, 5 times 6, or negative 5 times negative 6. Now let's determine the sum of each of these set of factors. So the sum of 1 and 30 is 31. The sum of negative 1 and negative 30 is negative 31. The sum of 2 and 15 is 17. The sum of negative 2 and negative 15 is negative 17. The sum of 3 and 10 is 13. The sum of negative 3 and negative 10 is negative 13. The sum of 5 and 6 is 11, and the sum of negative 5 and negative 6 is negative 11. So we need a set of factors that multiply to give us 30, but they need to add to give us the middle term of that trinomial of a negative 13. So if I look in the factor table, I can see that the factors of negative 3 and 10 give us a product of positive 30 and a sum of negative 13. So I'm going to use those factors to go ahead and set up two binomials. So we have x minus 10 and x minus 3 and x minus 10 because it was negative 3 and negative 10. So in the beginning we had to multiply our last term times 6. So now what we're going to do is we have to divide that term back out. So I'm going to divide the second term in both of those binomials by 6. If that can be simplified, if it can be divided, then you divide it. If it can be simplified, then you simplify it. So this first binomial will simplify to x minus 1/2, and the second binomial will simplify to x minus 5/3. So we simplified both of those fractions. Then what we do is we take the denominator. So in this first binomial, the denominators are 2, and we're actually going to move it to the front of that binomial. And we're going to take the denominator 3 in that second binomial and move it to the front. So that's going to give us the factors of 2x minus 1 and 3x minus 5. So let's check. This is what we've worked out to be the factors of this expression, but let's check it by multiplying those two binomials together. So if I multiply 2x minus 1 times 3x minus 5, that gives us 6x squared minus 10x minus 3x plus 5. Simplify by combining like terms. And we do get the trinomial that we started with. Therefore, we know that this is the correct factors. And we have found the factors of that trinomial 2x minus 1, and 3x minus 5.